The last thing we have to do in this section is the assignment for you. In some way, I'm glad that we are finishing the first 2 sections of this course because they were quite hard. That's because HTML is certainly more boring to learn than CSS, which we will head to in the next section. So if you managed to survive the first 2 sections with me, now it will only be more interesting. Which does not mean that it will be easier, but the effects of your work will certainly be more visible and satisfying. But before we move on to the next section, I would like us to practice building the HTML structure once again. I created such a website design, and I will discuss it soon. But I would like you to know that the HTML structure for this project can be done in many different ways. In a minute, I'm going to ask you to do it yourself. Later, I will show you how, for example, I would make it. My version may be significantly different from yours, which doesn't mean that both versions are not good. HTML language offers many possibilities for creating the websites and is very open. So there's no one right way to achieve the goal of creating the HTML structure. So now I will discuss this project, then I will leave you for as long as you need. Please make an attempt doing this assignment. If you will succeed, great. If not, you can see how I do it right away, and thanks to that, many things will be more understandable for you in the future. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Let's zoom it a little bit, just to see it better, like this. We can see at the top of our website a space for an advertising banner. So it could be a div, a section, or maybe a site tag. The next thing is here. I would say it's a header of our website. We got it separated with 2 parts, the gray one and the blue one. So in header, we probably have to have 2 more tags. Here we can see a logo right here. And that gray area is probably a background in some way. We can see the note from the designer right here. So it's a logo and slogan, image and text. Background will be added in CSS, so we do not include it in HTML. That probably don't have any semantic meaning, so we can place it in some container, while the blue part is the website menu, as we can see on the note right here. So there are probably links to our subsites in the list, probably in a tag using for menus on our website. Let's go down with it. Here we can see the main part of our website, the whole thing. At the note we can see we have the gallery title right here. So it's a probably heading. Below we have 4 images. This is a placeholder for image, often used in mockups. So we have 4 images. So we have to use the tags to place the images. It could be probably in some kind of a container as well, but it's not actually necessary. At the bottom of our gallery we have the button right here, and we can see at the note that the button displays more pictures below without opening a new subpage. So it's important information. Which tag should we use? And the answer is this tag that does not redirect us to another page. Let's go down a little bit. Here we can see we have another gallery, and we can see on the note that we have gallery of vegetable products with the same layout. So probably we can create the first section and then copy it with the change of the title of the gallery. And at the bottom we have our footer. We can see in the note that at the footer, contact details and additional menu. So we have to place the footer in the accurate tag, and in it place 2 other tags where we have contact details in one of them and additional menu in the other one. Before you start, let's go to our code editor once again. As you can see, I have my web dev course folder open. Let's go to our day 3-4 folder, and you can see I have assignment folder created. So let's go into it. You can see it's empty at the moment. So let's create a new file. Let's call it index.html. Let's create a basic website structure with the Emmet shortcut. this. Let's change the text indents. Save it. We don't need to put anything in the head tag at the moment. We only work in the body tag in this assignment. So all you have to do is to create the HTML structure in the body tag depending on our project. So now I invite you to do this project on your own. Okay, so let's do this project together now. Let's go to our body tag. First, we have this advertising banner at the bottom of our website. As I said before, it could be a section or a div, but I will put it in the aside tag. As with the other project, we don't know what's going to be here, so let's leave it how it is right now. Let's go to our next element. But before we do that, let's give it a class to our aside tag, which could be banner, for example, just so we could see what this aside tag should be on our website. Now, I didn't say that you have to create a classes in this project, so don't worry if you didn't. But I'll put some classes in my structure so it'd be more clear for me to recognize what is what. Also, you can get more familiar with creating classes just by looking at it. So let's go back to our project. We can create the class inside our tag as I showed you before, just like this. But there's a more simple way using the Emmet shortcut, which I'm about to show you. If we type the name of the tag, for example, aside, then use the dot, and after dot, we can just place the name of our class. In this case, banner. Then we just press enter, and voila. We have ready a side tag with the class banner inside it. Okay, so the next element after our advertising banner is probably a header. So with no complication, let's make a header tag just like this. And as I said before, we can clearly see we have two elements in our header, the gray one and the blue one. So the gray one is the container for our logo, slogan, and the background image, which will be added in CSS. So we will leave it this one. But for this container, I would probably use a div tag with the class background, just like this. Let's save our file. So we can see that inside our div with the class background right here, we have to make a logo and a slogan. So let's do it. Let's go to our div with the class background. Let's create an img tag with the class logo. So we can see clearly by adding this class that in this img tag, we are supposed to put the image with our logo. The next element we want to have in our div with class background is the slogan. So it should probably be the h1 tag. And let's put some dummy text, for example, slogan, as a placeholder for now. Let's save it. We can also add a comment in here by typing /, and we can add a message for us, for example, add slogan, so we can remember to add the slogan if we don't have it in the project, as we don't in this example. But we have to remember to remove this comment before putting the website on the server. So as I said, the background image will be added in CSS. So we don't have anything else to do in this container, which is the div with the class background. So let's go to our website menu now. Let's go back to our code editor. Let's leave this div with the class background still being in header. And let's create our menu, which should be the nav tag, also using the image shortcut. So what I want to have is the nav tag. Inside I want to have UL tag. Inside I want to have li tag times 5. And inside of each li tag I want to have an a tag. And voila. We don't have to place the href tags in this example, but let's put these tags to our a tags. So it's going to be start, about, shop, blog, and contact, just like this. Since we will have two navigations on our website, one in the header and one in the footer, let's also create a class in our nav tag for the clarity of the code. And let's call it header. We can give our class name header with no problem, because this class name header is totally different thing than our tag named header. So there's no issue with this. After our header, we can clearly see our main part of the page. So for me, it's obvious. We should use the main tag. Let's focus on this first. Gallery. It should be probably in a section tag in my opinion. So let's create a section. Let's give it a class. I think fruits will be okay. Let's create our gallery title. Let's place it in the h1 tag. Just like this. Many people would use h2 in this example because we already used the h1 tag in our header, and there's this method using only one h1 tag on the whole website. But if we do it like this, it's also okay. As I said, there are many ways of creating the websites, and everything is up to us. So let's leave it like this. You can see that this text is uppercase, just like the text in our navigation. But you may probably know it already, that the uppercase may be done in CSS and in our HTML. For the clarity of the code, we should type our text normally with the capital letters only at the beginning of the sentences. Now we can see we have to put 4 IMGs, but as I said before, it is convenient to place those IMGs in some kind of a container. So let's create a div. And in this example, we will just leave it with no class, just how it is. Now let's create our images. Let's use the image shortcut, IMG times 4, enter, and voila. Our images are ready to go. The next thing we have in our section is this button. As we can see in the note from the designer, it displays more pictures below without opening a new subpage. So when we click it, the more images should appear below. So we are not supposed to use the A tag, which would redirect us to another subpage or something. But instead, we can use a simple button. Let's place the text. Of course, the uppercase can be done in CSS. Let's save it. And I think we have our first section finished. Now, as we can see in our project, The second section looks exactly the same. So all we need to do is to select our section in the code editor, copy it, and paste it below. Let's save it. Let's change the class of our section to vegetables. Let's change the title of our section. And we have second section done as well. So all we have left is the footer. Let's place it after our main tag. In the footer tag. And as I said it before, we have two elements inside our footer with the contact details and with the additional navigation, which is the menu. So let's focus on this container right here. I'll make a div with the class contact. Inside this div, we can create, for example, a p tag with the text contact details. Let's save it. And I think it's okay. So now let's create the second element in our footer, which will be another nav tag. So let's create a nav with the class footer. Inside we want to have the UL tag with the LI tags ×4 and the A tag in each of them. Just like this. And now we can see we have our nav with class footer in our footer and the nav with class header in our header. It's totally fine. Those texts you can see in this project are default placeholders, but we can put them inside just to see our website structure in the browser, for example. So let's make it file, edit, view, and help. And our HTML structure is ready to go. I have one little bonus for you, which we will discuss later in this course, but I want to snip it now as a fun fact for you. Many developers place the wrapping tag to wrap the whole content of our website. And I'm about to show you how it looks and what it does. You can see that we have all our main elements of our website structure in the body tag. So they're linear to each other. But we can wrap it in one big container. For example, in the div tag with class wrapper. Like this. Now let's cut the closing tag from here. Put it at the end. Like this. And let's save our file. And now we can see that the whole structure of our website is inside this big container, which is the div with the class wrapper. Many developers place class like wrap, wrapper, or something else. Other developers just place the whole thing in the main tag. It's actually up to you, and you'll be using it according to your intuition in your work. So we use this wrapper container to set the max div of our website and to center it on our screen. Because when I go to full screen with our mockup, zoom it a little bit, you can see that websites nowadays looks more or less like this. That they're on the center of the screen, have some maximum width, and we can see a free space on our left side and the right side on our monitor. And we can do it using this wrapper because the whole content of our website, which you can see right here, now is placed in the one big container which is the wrapper, which you can see on the center of your screen with this free space on your left and your right outside our website. And we can see it in our code editor when we hide our all elements like header, main, and footer. We can see that it's all wrapped in the div with the class wrapper, which we can hide as well. And we can see that wrapper is the only main div in our body tag. Now let's put it back. And this is our HTML structure for this project. In the next section, it will be much more interesting because we are moving to CSS and our projects will look better and better. So thanks again and see you later in the next section.